Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jawad, and in this short video I'm going to talk about 10 signs of inflammation. Now when I deal with patients, a lot of people misinterpret inflammation. They think it's because they fell down the stairs or like they took like a very impactful injury. However, we could be in the state of inflammation all the time without even knowing, and I put together a top 10 list in no particular order that I talk with my patients on a daily basis about why they are inflamed or why we could be inflamed. So number one, low cortisol. Now again, cortisol is a stress hormone released by our adrenals. The adrenals are small glands that rest on top of the kidneys. Now cortisol could be your best friend or your worst enemy. And how it can be your worst enemy is if you have long-term stress. When you have long-term stress, your cortisol is released over a long period of time, which actually depletes the adrenal glands. So when you deplete the adrenal glands, you're going to be in a state of inflammation because you're going to have low cortisol. Remember, low cortisol is your anti-inflammatory hormone produced in the adrenal glands. And when you have long-term stress, you deplete it, and now you're chronically inflamed. And number two, old injuries. Now again, when we have old injuries, what first happens when you have an injury? Okay, first you have scar tissue that forms. Scar tissue decreases the blood supply to the area. Okay, when you decrease the blood supply to the area and the scar tissue is formed, you decrease the range of motion of the joint, the structure. It could be the muscle, it could be a joint, it could be a ligament. And when you have decreased range of motion, you're actually increasing the forces thrown upon it, so you get degeneration of that area. Now again, it could be the muscle, it could be the joint, it could be anything. So again, when you have degeneration, you create inflammation. Number three, now again, this is very, very important, okay, sugar. Sugar by far is your worst enemy, period. Because when you have large amounts of sugar, you release a hormone called insulin. Now the function of insulin is actually to reduce the blood glucose level. However, when you're taking in too much sugar, you become insulin resistant. Now with insulin resistant, then that's where inflammation occurs. So again, inflammation can occur if you have too much sugar. Next is grains. Grains in the form of gluten, wheat, that will cause leaky gut. Now when you have leaky gut, especially in the GI system, again, we have what's called tight junctions in the GI system that allow only few things through. So when you have wheat and gluten, actually that tears apart those tight junctions, and you get to the immune system because again, grain starts to leak through the blood supply, and which causes inflammation due to leaky gut. Next is vegetable oil. Now vegetable oil, we have corn oil, we have soy oil, we have safflower oil. Now the reason why vegetable oil is not good for you, it causes inflammation, is because what it is, it's high in omega-6. Now we have three omega fish oil families, I always say. We have omega-3, which is anti-inflammatory. We have omega-6 and we have omega-9, which is pro-inflammatory. Now again, it's not necessarily bad, but you do want a good ratio. You want a good high 3 to low 6 ratio. However, in America, we have quite the opposite. We don't have a lot of omega-3s. We have more omega-6s and 9s, which actually will cause inflammation. So vegetable oil, again, it's high in omega-6, which again will cause inflammation in your system. Next is alcohol. Now, with alcohol, I always say, again, anything in moderation is not bad. Red wine is not bad as long as it's in moderation. However, alcohol does cause liver damage. Now, when you do have liver damage, you create inflammation. Next is dairy. Now, dairy, again, that's a hot topic as well, because now the dairy cows, chickens, so forth and so on, are actually grain-fed instead of grass-fed. So again, I always recommend to my patients, if you're going to have a dairy, have organic, make sure it's grass-fed cows or chickens. Because if you have grains, actually grains are high in omega-6s. Omega-6s actually cause inflammation. So again, stay away from, I always recommend stay away from the dairy, but also too, the dairy, it causes internal mucus in the system, and the body does not like it. So when you actually have a reaction of mucus, that's an inflammatory reaction. Next is monosodium glutamate. That's again, it's a neurotoxin. Again, it's neurotoxins. What it does, it actually retains fluid. It actually makes you hold sodium, okay? Which again, when you hold sodium, actually you retain water. Now when you hold sodium and you hold water, that causes inflammation. Okay. Next is excessive protein. Now, how much protein should you have in your body? It all depends on your level of activity. An athlete will have an increased protein requirement as opposed to somebody who's more sedentary. However, if you have too much protein, protein makes the blood thick. Okay? And when you have thick blood, it has to go through the liver and it has to go through the kidney because those are two filtration organs. So it's really taxed on the liver, it's really taxed on the kidney. And again, these two organs also help maintain blood pressure. So when you have excessive amount of proteins, it can cause inflammation. Last is excessive cooked foods. Now, excessive cooked foods, this is like your barbecue, so forth and so on, okay? When we cook our foods under extreme heat for long periods of time, it actually decreases the enzymes. It destroys the enzymes that we need for the quality of the food. Okay? So this is where I always recommend having a variety. Have, again, barbecue, have it cooked, have it fried, have it baked, but also you want it raw. The raw food is, again, the enzymes are not destroyed, so our body utilizes those key nutrients much more effectively to help decrease inflammation. All right, so again, these are just my top 10 list of, again, 10 causes of inflammation that we're doing daily to our body. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello, this is Dr. Jawad. Please subscribe to my channel for more up-to-date videos, and thanks for watching.